Okay, so I'm making another guerrilla video. What I mean by that is I'm not going to be editing this, but I do have a tripod this time, unlike the last one. This is a little bit of a exploration, very brief exploration of the dynamics of power in a hypnotic interaction, okay, between hypnotist and hypnotee. And it's kind of an apt video for me to be making today because today is the first day of my Hypnosis for Transformation and Empowerment practitioner training. And it's not a plug, by the way, registration is closed. But the premise of that training is simply that when we are doing hypnotic change work, we are working with the adaptive, creative intelligence of our client. We're not really doing something to them, we are evoking their generativity, we're evoking a power that is within them to create changes, and we are leaving them more empowered as a result. So my approach to hypnosis and hypnotic change work is very much about valuing, recognizing, acknowledging the power and intelligence and creative intelligence of the client, and being an ally to that and having them become more grounded in that themselves in their lives. So that's quite different from how hypnosis is often thought about. It's often thought about as being a special state that renders people less powerful, less in the driving seat of their lives, more open to suggestion and influence from the outside. And that's something I never really believed to be true about hypnosis, or certainly not for a long time. But that's not why I'm making the video. It's just a reason why it's apt today. The reason I'm making the video is because I have been doing the comments in the YouTube Creator Studio, and I've got to see that a couple of weeks ago somebody was commenting a number of different places. I'd replied to them on different videos, but I've only seen that they've been asking questions in one place, and I can sort of get to a theme for the questions they're asking. What it seems is this person's had a bad experience with a hypnotist. They have clearly then gone onto the internet to find out, what's hypnosis about, what's going on, and I think this is a good thing. And they've ended up at my channel now. Number of videos I've made this point that the hypnotist isn't really the one with the power, it's the hypnotee. They are the one who's shifting their mind, moving their experience, shaping their reality. That the hypnotist is really just a facilitator or guide. A couple of the comments, there's been quite a few on a few different videos. One of them was on a video called "Can you hypnotize someone against their will?" In that video I made the case that no, you cannot hypnotize someone against their will. You might be able to sidestep their will, go under the radar, you might be able to co-opt their will, but my case there was you can't do it against their will. And I know that was a controversial video, a lot of hypnotists didn't like that one at the time, but that's okay. The comment that this person left on there was, but this means in my mind that everything is possible, and there's a little bit of a worried face on there. On another video, which was one of my very old How to Hypnotize Without Trance videos, very, very old video, this same person said, I'm just a bit afraid, just hoping everyone who is into this has good intentions and also self-control, knowing how to handle the power of altering a person's perception of reality. Now, she's written that, altering a person's perception of reality, because that's part of my stock definition for hypnosis, my working definition, which is that hypnosis is the use of language and communication to direct attention, lead cognition, and seed ideas for the purpose of altering a person's perception of reality. Now, let me be clear. The power of altering a person's perception of reality, my position is that that power lies with the client, right, or the hypnotee. It is they who are altering their perception of reality. It is they who are moving their mind differently. Now, obviously, as the hypnotist, our role as a hypnotist, or if you're a hypnotist, maybe you are, maybe you're not, is to have expert knowledge, expert understanding for facilitating that process. Okay, knowing how to nudge the system, so to speak. How to get them to shift, shift your mind like this, shift it like that. But it's not really them that has the power of altering the client's perception of reality, not directly. So does this mean the hypnotist doesn't have the power and the hypnotee does, so therefore nobody should worry about abuse of power within a hypnotic relationship? No, it doesn't. We could argue that it does, but it doesn't. And the reason it doesn't is because when somebody has power to shift their experience, to move their mind, to reshape their reality, but they don't know it, they've been using that power habitually on autopilot without realizing the potential of it. They don't know they have that power. So if somebody comes along and starts directing them and they kind of voluntarily go along with that, and then incredible things start to happen, and then that person, the hypnotist in this example, frames that as coming from something outside of themselves, like the hypnotist's power or the power of hypnosis, and that person buys into that reality, what you've kind of got is a situation where the hypnotist co-opted that person's power and claimed it as their own. But now they've co-opted it and claimed it, they kind of possess it for a time, and now they have that power even though it's not really theirs, right? They've just kind of co-opted it and had this person buy into a reality where this is true. So from that perspective, you could argue now the hypnotist does have the power, but only through a kind of deception, and not even always a conscious deception on the part of the hypnotist. Now, so does this mean now that we can say, okay, so hypnosis is power, it is about like having power over people, or it does give somebody power over somebody else? I would actually argue no. That this co-opting of power, this way of organizing power in a certain way, is not unique to hypnosis. Not at all. It could come out in any relationship, and particularly relationships where people have engaged with an authority of any kind. Okay, so it could be a doctor-patient relationship, somebody gone to see any kind of therapist. It could be somebody who's hired a consultant if they buy into what the consultant has to say. It could be a person going to buy, going to buy a solution to a problem from a salesperson. Could happen in a interpersonal relationship, does all the time. Power dynamics are at play all the time in our interactions with other human beings. In a sense, a major part of hypnosis or any interaction is how is reality organized? Who's dictating the reality that is getting bought into? In a doctor-patient reality, the organization reality is the doctor knows what's what, knows what should be done, should and shouldn't be done. And if the person buys into that without question, they'll do whatever the doctor says, whether it's good, bad, otherwise. Doctor has a lot of power in that instance. So what I'm saying here is, yes, in a hypnotic interaction, a person's power can be co-opted and the effects of that power ascribed to other things, i.e. the power of hypnosis or the power of the hypnotist. If the person buys into that reality, they will be disempowered and their power will have been abdicated elsewhere. This is my point with my hypnosis for transformation and empowerment. We can still do good hypnotic facilitation without robbing people of their power, in fact grounding them more fully in their power. I do not believe there's anything in hypnosis, because hypnosis isn't a thing, it's a construct, okay, that has a lot of elements that weave together to create the thing we call hypnosis. I do not believe there's anything particularly special about hypnosis, apart from the fact that there is a social idea of hypnosis, that hypnosis is a cultural concept already. And a part of that cultural concept for many is that it does contain the power to control minds. Now, this actually cuts both ways. For some people, it makes them even more grounded in their autonomy. They're like, I don't believe that, or I don't buy that, or screw that, I'm not going to be controlled. So they push back against that cultural idea that hypnosis is powerful. Other people, they do the opposite. They buy into that idea that hypnosis is culturally powerful. So the idea itself can be part of what facilitates the abdication of their own power. Okay? So there is a kind of special case to some degree with hypnosis, but not because hypnosis is especially powerful, but because the cultural idea of hypnosis contains this abdication of power as an inherent part of it. Okay, but that's a double-edged sword that cuts both ways. All right, I don't really have a conclusion to this video, but because it was just an explanation or exploration perhaps based upon those comments. But if you're a hypnotist and you got something good from that, obviously you can bang that thumbs up, but I'd love to hear your feedback in the comment section below. If you fundamentally disagree with that, please do also make use of that comment section to share your disagreement. I am really open to dialogue. I'm not interested in debating about what is or isn't so and who's right and who's wrong, but I am interested in hearing different perspectives and looking at any nuancing you might have of my perspective. Okay, and of course, if you're not a hypnotist, you're perfectly welcome to join in with this as well, because I do think it has implications beyond that. You know, how power plays out in relationships, how people are constantly trying to sell a version of reality to everybody else around them, and everybody else around them is trying to sell a version of reality to them, all unconsciously and all implicitly most of the time. But yeah, if you found the video of interest and you want to make sure you hear more of these videos, not just about hypnosis, but about life, the universe, and everything, please do hit the notifications bell and the subscription, and then you'll actually see the videos when they come up. All right, that's about all I got to say for today. So until we speak again, keep on doing all the wonderful things that you do.